Testing, testing. Are we on? Let me check the microphone here. Maybe I have to increase the volume a little bit. All right. How's it going, everybody? What up? What up? This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. And as I promised you that I would return, and voila, here I am back again, live streaming. Probably gonna be like the last time today, though, because I got a full day today. But I don't want to get through this week. I don't want to get like complete this weekend without talking about this topic. Um, this casting decision uh, happened yesterday. It was big news. It was trending on Twitter yesterday, but I was away watching the Women's World Cup and Copa America and some other stuff that I was busy doing. So now is the time that I could finally get to sit down and discuss with you guys about this. And I tweeted some stuff about it as well. And of course, I'm talking about Melissa McCarthy uh, being in talks to play Ursula, one of the greatest cinematic villains. Um, it, she's going to play, or she is in negotiations to play Ursula in Disney's upcoming live action The Little Mermaid movie. Now, let me just read to you exactly what has been reported by Variety. I think Variety had the exclusive, and it says here, and I quote, Melissa McCarthy may be ready to help some poor, unfortunate souls. Get it? Poor, unfortunate souls, the song from the movie. In Disney's live action version of The Little Mermaid. Sources tell Variety that while the deal is not yet completed, so it's not locked in yet, it's not official yet, but McCarthy is in early talks to play the sea witch Ursula in the live action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. Um, that yeah, that's pretty much what they say here, and it's directed by Rob Marshall. He's the guy who gave us Mary Poppins Returns, which I hated. I'm sorry, I don't know if you like that movie. I did not like Mary Poppins Returns. It was boring. I almost fell asleep through it. Rob Marshall also gave us Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, which was also boring. And he also gave us Nine, the musical Nine with Daniel Day-Lewis. That was also a disaster. The last great movie that Rob Marshall ever actually gave us was, I think, Chicago, right? Um, so when I heard Rob Marshall was directing this, I was like, oh man, brace yourselves. I'm already cautioned about it. It's like, oh, we'll see how this goes. But I love The Little Mermaid, the 1989 animated film, which, by the way, is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. So it comes out in November of 1989. So I'm trying to plan to get with a fellow YouTuber or collabo with a fellow YouTuber. I don't know who yet. To discuss The Little Mermaid celebrating its 30th anniversary. Okay, back to Melissa McCarthy. So the title of this video is Melissa McCarthy the right fit as Ursula in Disney's The Little Mermaid live action movie? For those of you who haven't seen The Little Mermaid 1989 animated movie, where have you been? Really, you really need to put this on your must-see list. If you haven't already, I was like, why are you missing out on this film? It's considered a classic. Um, I think it won a couple of Oscars, one of which was for the song Under the Sea. The other song that got nominated was Kiss the Girl. So it's about this mermaid named Ariel, the daughter of, or one of the daughters of the King Triton in the sea, and Ariel wishes to be part of our world, human world. And she falls in love, gets all smitten with this young, handsome prince named Eric, and of course, lovey-dovey romance. And well, before the lovey-dovey romance, Ariel makes a deal with Ursula, this sea witch that has octopus tentacles. Funny enough, there are only 6 tentacles not 8. I guess it has to do with the animator's decision. Um, but anyway, the deal was, hey, I give you legs so you can walk on land, and if you get him to kiss you, true love's kiss, you get to be human forever with your man Eric. But there's a payment. You gotta make a payment. Nothing is free. There's no such thing as free lunch. So that payment is I gotta have your voice. So all those 3 days that she spends with Eric, she's pretty much mute. So that's in a nutshell. If you want to, I don't want to tell you the ending. You got to just watch the movie for yourself. So Ursula is uh, widely regarded by many, not just fans of Disney, but fans of movies in general. That Ursula is one of the best movie villains ever. And it's one of those villains that you like to root for. And funny enough, I actually came across the actress who voiced Ursula at Disney's D23 Expo back in 2013, I believe. Her name is Pat Carroll, and she's signing autographs, and you got if you want your photo to be taken with her, and if you want her autograph, you got to pay her some money. And I could not cough up some money because I was a poor guy. Still am a poor guy. So what I did was just like kind of take a selfie of me with her in the background, like a little bit distance away. so so the photo turned out like she's kind of small, tiny, and my big face on it. So anyway, that was my almost close encounter with Pat Carroll at Disney D23 Expo. Um, and Pat Carroll, for her performance as Ursula, she really lowers her voice, and yeah, just watch the movie. You'll get how fantastic her performance is as Ursula. So Melissa McCarthy, the Oscar-nominated actress, right? Bridesmaid. I'm sorry, Bridesmaids, The Heat, Spy, and I was surprised when she got nominated for Can You Ever Forgive Me, because I thought that movie was dull, but you know, good on her to have received second Oscar nomination. And so Melissa McCarthy is when it comes to comedy, she's very capable. She can do slapstick physical stuff. She's one of those actresses who is not embarrassed to make herself look silly for the camera. And 1,000 credits to her for that. Um, I don't know if she can sing, but if she can or she could sing, I would not be surprised. A lot of comedians, a lot of funny people actually know how to sing, and they know how to sing really well. Will Ferrell, believe it or not, Will Ferrell's got pipes. Jack Black's got pipes. Steve Carell can sing. So Melissa McCarthy can sing. That would not surprise me. I don't know if she can pull off a poor, unfortunate soul song, but I wouldn't put it past her. So this casting news has received backlash from a lot of Disney fans on Twitter. I know. You're saying, well, Rama, it's just Twitter outrage. You know how it is. It's it's Wednesday. It's another day on Twitter, and I totally get it. If you say that, I'll be like, yes, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. But it's worth discussing anyway. Um, Here's one that let's see here. Where is that article? I think it's on Newsweek. Give me a minute here. So some of the names that they kind of throw out there in response to or in reaction to the news of Melissa McCarthy possibly or potentially playing Ursula. Um, One of the names is Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah, also Oscar nominee from Chicago. Um, I met her once. Fantastic actress, a lovely, lovely person, uh, and and she can sing, I believe. Yeah, and she has portrayed sort of portrayed Ursula in this series of images that Disney unleashed a few years ago. Um, imagining what their live, I'm imagining what some of their classic animated characters would be like, played by live action famous people. I think Beyonce portrayed one of them. Beyonce ended up, of course, voicing Nala in the upcoming The Lion King. But in this series of portraits, series of images, I forget what character it was. But anyway, Queen Latifah was Ursula. David Beckham was, I think, one of the prince. Maybe the prince from Snow White, probably. I gotta double check that again. So this series of portraits, I think, happened before Disney started unleashing live action versions of their Disney animated movies. For the past few years and the many more, maybe a few more years to come, Disney has been and will continue to live actionize many of their animated films, the classic animated films. Tinkerbell is also in production. So anyway, Queen Latifah, because of that portrait, people are like, "Hey, come on, Queen Latifah, come on! How come you forgot about Queen Latifah, and just go straight to Melissa McCarthy? What's up with that?" Another name that they also mentioned is Kiala Settle. Um, she is this amazing, amazing singer from Broadway who played a role or had a role in the movie The Greatest Showman in 2017. And that song that she sang, "This Is Me," that one was Oscar nominated as well. And Kiala Settle's it's a big girl, and she's got big pipes. She's got big voice. She can reach all the ranges of the notes. And to that, I say, yeah, I can see Kiala Settle as Ursula. I don't have a problem with that idea. Another name that they mention is Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson, of course, as you know, most famous from the franchise Pitch Perfect. And she recently starred in this horrible, horrible comedy movie called The Hustle, co-starring Anne Hathaway. In 2016, Rebel Wilson showed up cosplaying or dressed up as Ursula uh, at Hollywood Bowl, at the Hollywood Bowl, um, which featured songs from the film The Little Mermaid. And so you can look that up. You can watch that video on YouTube. Um, Rebel Wilson as Ursula at the Hollywood Bowl, and you will find that her performance was pretty good. She was a pretty good Ursula. So that these suggestions, other than Melissa McCarthy, are not bad suggestions. Um, Another one that they throw out, hey, it's like, how come you come on, Disney. You only had one job. Why are you talking to Melissa McCarthy about this role? Why can't you talk to Lizzo? And I was like, okay, Lizzo, who's that? Um, I don't know much about Lizzo, to tell you the truth. But I looked her up. She's not a drag queen. She has eccentric personality. She's a social media influencer, and she also was a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I Google image some of her photos. Yeah, she's a big girl. Um, she can probably pull it off too. So I don't have a problem with that suggestion as well. All right. But the big part that the fans on Twitter have been like, shouting at, is like, why can't you cast an actual drag queen to play Ursula? Now, for those of you who may not know, the design for the character Ursula, the sea witch Ursula, Ursula. What do I keep pronouncing Ursula? Ursula, Ursula. The design is based on this late drag queen slash actor named Divine, aka Harris Glenn Milstead, and Divine sadly passed away before um, she ever saw The Little Mermaid. I think a year before The Little Mermaid was released. So if you look her up on Google Image, you'll see like, oh yeah, definitely. Ursula was inspired. The design was inspired by Divine, um, because Divine looks a lot like Ursula, and vice versa. And so an actual drag queen playing Ursula, again, I'm not against that idea. Um, I think we are, to also go along with the video that I just made earlier today about should LGBT roles only be played by LGBT actors. I think we're living in the day on this day and age when the fans seem to demand that the actors exactly down to the last detail fit their characters, so that trans need to play trans characters, um, a drag queen needs to play Ursula, and a Caribbean actor should voice Sebastian. Some examples like that. You know, so but here's the thing. Before I come to my conclusion about Melissa McCarthy, I think the fans, especially for this one, they have a vision in their heads, in their minds, of what Ursula should look like, and everybody's different, right? And I remember when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. People are like, "Why the guy from Brokeback Mountain?" No, but guess what happened? Heath Ledger knocked that role out of the park. Um, so Melissa McCarthy might surprise us. Now, it's also interesting to note that many of these suggestions have a certain criteria too, and one of the common denominators is that they're all heavy set. Um, when Will Smith got cast as Genie, people were livid, right? I was like, no, not Will Smith. What are you doing, Disney? And as if you want to go through physicalities, Genie is a little chubby, um, got a big belly, and of course, people are still fond of Robin Williams' take on it. But guess what happened? Will Smith won over everybody's hearts. Will Smith rocked that role. If you've seen Disney's live action adaptation of Aladdin, that's still in theaters, by the way, starring one of my favorite crushes, celebrity crushes, Naomi Scott. Will Smith ruled as Genie. So my point is, if anybody, if anybody could transform Melissa McCarthy into Ursula, Disney could. Disney can. It's Disney. All right. And I'm not like diehard fans of Disney. I'm not, sometimes I would criticize Disney when the criticism is merited. Um, but after having seen what they did to help Will Smith sell his version of Genie, I'm like, dude, come on. Yeah, you probably in your head you have Queen Latifah as Ursula, but once you've seen the movie, that image in your head will be like, once Melissa McCarthy have you sold on her performance, bam, from that point forward, you only have Melissa McCarthy in your head as Ursula. Just like bam, as soon as the Dark Knight arrived, the only Joker in your head is Heath Ledger. No offense to Jack Nicholson. So those suggestions are fine. They're awesome. But who's to say that Melissa McCarthy could not do as good a performance with that role as Ursula? Um, So yeah. Now, before I conclude this video, I also want to say that Amy Adams 25 years ago would have been perfect, perfect as Ariel. Um, of course, Amy Adams now can't play the role anymore. Not to mean ages, but this is gonna find a young actress. My guess is that she's gonna be relatively unknown, and she's gonna be fresh off of Broadway. Um, it seems that for the live action adaptation, it's not like the same as animated movies back then, where you have one actress or one actor voicing the role or voicing the character, and then you'll have a singer stepping in to sing the songs. Um, Aladdin, they did that with Aladdin. They did that with Mulan, of course, with the exception of The Little Mermaid, because Jodie Benson can actually also sing really, really well. So she also did her own singing in that one. But for the live action version, it seems that, like, for example, Beauty and the Beast, Disney had Emma Watson actually do the singing herself. Granted, if you ask me, I don't think she did that good a job. I mean, she could hit the notes, but she's not a great singer. But recent example is Naomi Scott. She did her own singing in Aladdin. It's not like dubbed by somebody else's voice or another singer's voice. So whoever they cast as Ariel, of course, number one requirement is she has to be able to sing. The other criteria would be like, she's young and she has to have a red head. That comes later, comes second, third. But number one, she has to be able to carry the tunes, because that is expected for the live action version. Uh, that the actress needs to actually do her own singing. My suggestion is actually Diana Hopper. She's 25 years old. She's a co-star in the Amazon series Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton. I think she has red head, and I interviewed her once. She's fantastic actress, but I don't know if she can sing. That's the thing. But she looks the part. Um, and my other theory is that Disney is gonna cast Disney is gonna cast their muse, their go-to muse, their lucky charm, actor Alan Tudyk. Remember Alan Tudyk, who's been in several recent Disney animated movies. He also voiced the parrot Iago in Aladdin. So I'm betting you that Disney will cast him to voice either CG Flounder, Flounder the fish, best friend fish of Ariel, or he would voice the seagull, Scuttle, CG Scuttle. So that's my guess. Now, I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter. His name is Chad Kuhn, a lovely guy, an actor, I believe. And he made a list of who needs to play who in this live action Little Mermaid movie. And he suggested Hattie go to bed as Ariel. I don't know who she is. Apparently, she had a role in Game of Thrones. I don't remember her from Game of Thrones. I apologize. But Chad Kuhn also suggested Idina Menzel as Ursula. That's fine, but I think Disney's talking to Melissa McCarthy, not Idina Menzel, and Idina is already in the part of the Disney family as Queen Elsa in Frozen. So I doubt that Disney's gonna have her also play this other role. Chad Kuhn also suggested Eddie Murphy as Sebastian. That's cool. I mean, Eddie Murphy can do accents, but again, as I implied earlier, I think we are in this day and age when um, the fans demand that the actors really fit their characters down to the last detail. So I would be surprised if Disney did not cast a Caribbean based actor or an actor with Caribbean background or Jamaican background um, to voice Sebastian. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, just like Queen Latifah and Lizzo and Rebel Wilson and Kiala Settle, which whom I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem either with Eddie Murphy voicing Sebastian. So, Sandeep Singh is here. When did they announce this movie? They announced it quite a while ago. But if you ask, hey Rama, does this Little Mermaid live action movie already have a release date? The answer is no. They haven't set the release date yet. So that one we have to wait for. I don't know when they're gonna announce the release date. But it's in development. Sadeep Singh. They haven't cast the other roles: Ariel, Eric, Sebastian, King Triton. Right now, they're only talking to Melissa McCarthy. They, as in Disney, is talking to Melissa. And again, the deal's not locked in. It's not nothing officials yet. But in conclusion, I think we gotta. I get that we, the fans, can get outraged or frustrated whenever, like, oh my god, I can't believe they cast him for that or they cast her for that. Um, until we see the movie, we can't really judge until we see. There's a lot that goes into making a movie. There's a lot that goes into developing a character in a movie. If you hear like not too long ago, hey, oh my god, Will Smith gets cast as Genie. I can't visualize Will Smith as Genie, man. But voila, with the right makeup team, with the right visual effects team, and then of course Will Smith's putting his own spin with the right script, with the right direction from the director. There's a lot that goes into creating and developing a character, um, including Ginny. So if Melissa McCarthy, if the deal's locked in, they're gonna go all out, or they're gonna go above and beyond to get the right people to help Melissa McCarthy embody this performance as one of the most beloved villains ever. So give it a shot. Acting wise, dude, there's no problem. She's like two-time Oscar nominee. There's no problem there acting wise. She can cry on cue, like whatever. She can be angry at you. There's no problem there. I think a lot of fans right now just have this look have this vision in their head what Ursula needs to look like, and they can't picture Melissa McCarthy yet. With the wig and the octopus tentacles. So it's mostly a matter of look or design, not necessarily performance. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We got to give it a chance. I am not against it. I am open to it. Hopefully, this deal is locked in. But if it's not, if Melissa McCarthy says, "Oh, sorry, I can't do the gig because whatever, scheduling conflict or whatever, or creative differences, whatever," if that happens, then we'll see what the next option will be on Disney's list for Ursula. But as of right now, I'm okay with Melissa McCarthy potentially playing Ursula in Disney's live action The Little Mermaid movie. Um, all right. Yeah, I was one of those. Sandeep Singh. Yeah, I was one of those people who ridiculed Will Smith's portrayal of the genie, but he apparently did a good job. Disney's been going this live action movie route now. What do you think will be their next live action adaptation of our childhood stories? You can easily Google it, Sandeep Singh. They have a list already. That movies that are in development, live action version of their animated movies. One of which is on the top of my head. I think they're developing Tinkerbell live action movie. They're developing Pinocchio live action movie, and for sure, this is for sure. I know for sure that Disney is also developing Hunchback of Notre Dame live action movie, which is cool because I was a huge fan of Hunchback of Notre Dame animated movie. So yeah, you can Google it. You'll find that they're working on, at least in the planning stages of those 2 3 titles that I mentioned. So they are happening. They're happening right now. Of course, they're moving forward with the one that's on the top of their list, which is the Little Mermaid. But they have, it's like this thing's already in the planning stages or in development stages. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pinocchio, Tinkerbell, and some other characters as well. I want I want them to also make a live action version of the of Hercules. I haven't heard they announced Hercules yet. I only heard they announced Hunchback, Pinocchio, and Tinkerbell. So it'd be interesting once they get to Hercules, how that's gonna play out. It'll be pretty interesting because, yeah, I like that movie. I can go the distance. Ah, love that song. Love that song. By the way, fun fact as well. Before I close, this live action Little Mermaid movie, Lin Manuel Miranda, Broadway legend and Oscar nominee Lin Manuel Miranda, is working closely with Alan Menken, the great Alan Menken, to make those old original classic songs from the Little Mermaid animated movie, to make them more vibrant, to renew them, to make them sound, updated for this new version. And they're also working on some new original songs in addition to those classics, um, for this live action Little Mermaid movie. Um, so that's a fun fact. That's awesome because I'm Team Lin Manuel Miranda forever and all the way. uh, Sandeep Singh says Hercules might be a good movie for them to work closer with Marvel. No, no. Marvel has their own phase. Marvel plans out a phase of movies: phase one, phase two, phase three. And Marvel Comics has thousands of characters. They gave to us a talking raccoon in part of phase two, and now it's what, phase three, right? They're bringing to us the Eternals, Shang-Chi, and some of these other obscure characters. So no, Marvel is not is not gonna they're not gonna take Disney's character and make it their own. And there's no such crossover. But it's an interesting idea on your part, though, Sandeep. So thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/Rama Screen. What do you think of Melissa McCarthy as Ursula in the new live action mermaid movie? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's rock this.